Hello, I'm joined here by Mr. Hilal from Liminal. Thank you, sir, so much for joining us today. So, one of my first questions to you would be an understanding on how the threat landscape currently looks, especially for the BFSI sector, and how do you see it evolving?
Um, so a couple of things, right? So the BFSI sector is a highly regulated entity, right? So you have basically regulatory bodies which overlook your operations. They define how do you do your business and things like that, right? So a lot of challenges that come for BFSI actually are in a perspective that comes from there, right? So we have to have a lot of things that we do, like which need to be exactly how they want us to be, right? So some of the challenge that we have been facing is basically about, for example, something as basic as KYC verification, right? So you want to basically know your customer because there's a regulatory requirement. So what happened was that we started with basic physical verification. So okay, the person is really the person he claims to be, and if he's running the business he is supposed to be running is legitimate business, right? But that model is not scalable. Once you actually have a certain scale, you reach like 1,000 users, like 10,000, then 100,000 and 1 million, 10 million. So it no longer becomes something that you can do manually. So now you introduce something like okay, automated way of basically KYC, like through Aadhaar and all those things, and you verify it with basically service from the government, and you feel that okay, you can do something like that. But even that's also not scalable because most often than not, people actually like we do not necessarily know that the person who's uploading those documents is really the person. So now, obviously, like what we thought was actually a solution to all of this was basically doing a video KYC. So we start okay, we'll ask people to do video KYC by holding their identity and speaking in the camera, so that we'll exactly know that that person is actually the person he's claiming to be, and his business is a legitimate one. Now we thought that was a blessing because it could scale very well, and we can actually use automated agents, automation to basically like verify that. Now the challenge with that was, unfortunately, with the AI coming in, now we started basically seeing a flood of basically deepfakes and all those things actually like doing those video KYCs. Now, literally, like 86% of the video KYC verification that gets done is actually fake. That's a deep fake. So we have only like 10% or 12% legitimate video KYC is getting done in a day, which means, say, for example, we do 1 million video KYC, like almost like 806,000, like 60,000 basically are actually illegitimate. Only 140,000 are basically like something that we can actually use. So, which means that it actually, what we thought was a blessing, which was the video KYC, actually became a problem. Now we don't have actually a very something that could actually like, take us away from that. So this particular form of basically like challenge that we have in operating the business, compounding by the technical lack of technical controls that we have. We do not necessarily have the automation built in to basically do this at scale. Second is basically like you have the normal basically like logical and technical control issues, right? So, for example, your technology does not keep up with the pace. Some of us have the legacy, basically like burden that's coming, and we are not able to address that. Apart from that, there is always going to be the challenge of basically like identity takeovers, financial abuse, and fraud, and all of those things are on a massive level, right? So you want to basically like, and unfortunately, what happens is that the legal process is so convoluted. It's not always like going to be straightforward. If we wanted to basically solve an issue, it takes months together, and we are held up with that for like so long, right? So that makes all of these things a really difficult challenge for the BFSI to basically solve. And I think in future, what we're looking forward to is basically AI helping us in some other ways. Like say, for example, we want to do some sampling. We want to basically do coin drop testing, or we want, for coin drop testing is nothing basically like purchasing something at a bare minimum value and figuring out if the business is actually the legitimate business or not. So all those coin drop tests and all those things actually will help us, but it requires a lot more effort on an industry level to basically come up with a standard or a framework that allows us to basically navigate those regulatory challenges that we actually face today.
Definitely, sir. And that was quite interesting. And I believe that such issues are prominently discussed at community led events. So today we
Yeah.
are at Security BSides Bangalore. and I wanted to understand your opinion and one key takeaway you're taking from this event.
I have always been to BSides Bangalore, right? So I have always spoken at BSides Bangalore. So I have a very close connection with it.
Mhm.
And it's always something that exudes with energy. So there's a lot of energy around. And it's a really great mix of youthful exuberance. You feel like a lot of young people actually milling around, learning things, like
Mhm.
asking questions. Then you have, on the other hand, you have the more experienced people,
Mhm.
the people who are actually been through all of that, who can actually give wisdom, who can give the subject matter expertise to these young folks. So there's a really great mixture of talent and mixture of experience that
Mhm.
makes it really unique. And the way this has been set up, where it actually is reaching those limits right now, I don't I, earlier we thought that okay, it's not going to be that successful, but you can see now that it's actually become much more bigger, and hopefully it will continue to get bigger.
Mhm.
Personally, for me, it's like something that I can never miss. And Sujata and all those people who have been organizing it, like, have been very close friends,
Mhm.
and they have been some people who have been driven by ambition to make this an international standard. So it feels always great to basically contribute to its success, and I cannot miss it.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much. It is truly a pleasure to have you here and to speak with us here today. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.